Welcome back to Pallets to Pints, a show for beverage industry folks to come together and share like-minded ideas and talk about ways to drive insights that can provide transformational value to the industry. Today I'm joined by my good friend and partner, Bill Kraich from Encompass Technologies. He spearheads platform evangelism, I guess. You are responsible for spearheading that part of the business, huh?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Yeah. You know, I've known you for several years now, we're going on 6 years. And I think what Encompass brings to the table that I want to get into here in a few minutes is really incredible as not only a technology partner, but what you deliver to our like-minded customers that we share across the board. So before we begin though, let's kick it off with a toast. Cheers. And we will get right down to it. So before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty details, who is Bill? Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to where you're at today, and what really drives your passion around the industry.
I'm really glad you asked, Sean. It's my favorite topic. So, me. I started in beer, in the beer business when I was 19. Started working the repack room at Pioneer Distributing in Sterling, Colorado. Massive operation. They ran 2 trucks every day. It was pretty big. Surprisingly, a lot of repack. And some of it made it into my car. Thanks, Kent. It was delicious, by the way. But it eventually worked my way out of repack and started doing everything, right? Like there was always some sort of sales stuff. There was warehouse things, and by the end of that summer, I was like the warehouse manager at 19, which was crazy. But then and that was Encompass customer number 1. Right, that's where Encompass started at Pioneer Distributing.
What year was this?
This was
Don't date yourself.
This was 01.
Okay.
And so I was one of the very, very first users. A few years later, I'm out of college and looking for a job, and that's when I came back to Encompass and as an employee. And when I got there, I joined to be a project manager. And my job, so this was a really interesting time at Encompass. So this is 2011. And what was happening there was the release of the iPhone. And the iPhone was changing the way that technology was delivered to consumers and businesses. And where this had a specific impact on the beer business is that the old school way that a distributor would communicate its orders from the field back to the warehouse is they would use a palm or a brick. I don't even remember what the names of these things were, but they would T-com the order in. They had to connect to a phone line, and it was this terrible thing. It was $2,000 each brick is what it cost, and it did one thing, and you could enter your invoice. Now iPhone shows up. And you can put an app on an iPhone, and with that app you can do a billion things. And then so Encompass, we're see you later, Brick. We made an app on an iPhone, and this was changing the game. And so everybody was coming to us. They're like, hey, we want in on the iPhone app. We want to use the iPhone app. So Encompass was blowing up at this time, and we're converting people from whatever legacy system that they were on to Encompass. And so there was tons of work, and that's why there was work for me. So I was a trained product manager, or project manager. I had a project management credential through PMI, and I show up, just in time to start this conversion process, to help do all these conversions that need to happen. A few years in, Encompass is really, really growing. We've got hundreds of customers at this point in time, all traditional beer distributors, and but the company has got quite a few people, and we've matured as a tech company, and the role that was needed that I was able to fill was a role of product manager. And this is where now I'm not responsible for the transition of stuff with the customers. I'm responsible for the well-being of the product and making sure that it meets the needs of our customers today, tomorrow, and the next day. And this was a big change, right? And so I had to learn a bunch of new skills and adapt to this new process. And what I figured out is my job as a product manager was to say no to everybody. When everybody was asking for features and how to do software, anytime you ask somebody what should we do, they give you this answer, and it's usually not very good, right? And so my job was to make sure that what we actually implemented was good things. And then a few years later, after doing that, again, we're growing, we're getting bigger, and I take on a vice president role, and now I'm overseeing our professional services department, which was brand new, and this other new thing that we launched, which was a partner program. And this allowed us to now, instead of saying no to everything, we could say yes to everything, because now we're working on individual use case scenarios, and we're working with partners across the ecosystem. And then so now we had the ability to take a distributor that says, hey, I want to work with this particular set, or, this software company, this other software company, and can we integrate? And we would say, absolutely, we can. Like, you can do it, distributor, just one-on-one, or we can work with the third-party software company, and then we can build an integration with that company, and now that company can integrate now with all of our customers. It's a huge change. And then over time, since then, now I am the head platform evangelist for Encompass Technologies, that has way more technology than it did back in 2011. But it's a super fun job. You just talk about like how great Encompass is, how great the platform is. Also have to be like front and center in the industry and what's going on in BevAlc, because it's really important to what we're doing as a company. And so it's this really fun cross section of beverage and technology that I sit in. And sometimes it's a pretend job, I think, sometimes, because it's just so fun, right? It's never work. It's great.
You've been deeply rooted in the entire evolution of the industry since 2000, right? Since pre-2000. Talk a little bit about how Encompass sets themselves apart from other industry competitors. We talk about RAS, RAD accounting companies, whatever those software, we'll get into the partnership stuff in a few minutes, but like whether it's cloud-based, the various features and functionality, walk us through that a little bit and what Encompass delivers and how it's most effective.
So Encompass is crazy. It is a multinational tech company, right? And so we have offices in 3 different countries. We have employees in like 10 different countries, and we have customers in just as many. But our core, right, has been the beverage alcohol distributor, and then outside of that we have software for beer, cider, and seltzer makers. We also have software specific for wine and spirits manufacturers. And we also have software for retailers to use as well. So we've expanded over time, and where we occupy is this space that is the 3-tier system. All 3 tiers is where we do business, and like our tagline is maker to market, right, and everywhere in between. And then so we have very, very specific high-end software applications for each tier, but what makes us super special is what we do in between those layers and how we connect them. And I think that's like our secret sauce.
You talk a little bit like one of the things on your desk right now is driving a deeper level of connection through data, through insights between the supplier and the distributor. Is that where the current kind of biggest opportunity is? What else is out there that you all are looking at in terms of trying to solve problems leveraging technology?
So there's 2 taglines, right? So the one tagline was maker to market, right? And so that sets the stage on where we operate. The other thing is we future-proof your business. And so if you're our customer, you're a distributor, you're a supplier, you're a retailer, what we're here to do is to future-proof that business. And we're doing it through maker to market. And there's a bunch of different ways. Like, so one thing that we're thinking about, and especially when it comes to supplier to distributor connectivity, is that at some point in the future, right, there's a risk to the business of our core customer. And right now, many of our core customers, the distributor, are in this mode of acquiring new brands and more suppliers. And eventually, they're going to be at this stage where that becomes not as easy, right? It's going to be more difficult. And the reason for this is the way that brands are being built is also changing and evolving. Brands are built online and digital, and then the really, really good brands are connecting the digital experience to the real world experience. And so these brands that grow and become really valuable brands are very used to having control of all aspects of that, of the digital and the physical, and how they connect with each other. And then so when they're looking to expand with distribution, the distributor now has to be able to make sure that the supplier knows that by working with that wholesaler, that their ability to maintain that or to control it and put it on overdrive is actually with that distributor.
Yeah, they control the destiny of every product.
Totally.
Right? I mean, they really
but
do.
if the new supplier can't do those things with the new distributor, not going to happen.
over.
They're not going to work together. So what we're like actively working on is making sure that state in the future, that's not a problem for our customers. Our customers will not have that problem. They're not having a problem now, right? But they're going to if we don't do something, right? And so. So we're working on that, right? Like how do we connect and make it seamlessly integratable between what supplier initiatives are and what distributor initiatives are, and so that there's no barriers to communication, that we're talking about the same things, we're using data the same way. AI is able to help both parties do the things that they're supposed to do. So that's the future look in that connective tissue.
Yeah, and I think there has to be a ton of collaboration, right, across all these different entities and silos of information, partners, customers, everything, right? Everything that makes this industry complex. Your partnership program is amazing. It's incredible. I've been a competitor and a partner in various roles, and in current role today with Rehrig Pacific, we rely heavily on you all with the customers that are with you guys to integrate with us as well and have that data flowing all the way around. How do you balance the thought of like the partners that you have or the partners that potentially knock on your door and say, hey, we want to integrate with you. We want to open up an API and have and share data, and they aren't seen as a threat or something that maybe you all want to do, right? Like how do you guys balance that and like in the true spirit of partnership, how have you been able to leverage that in terms of scaling in the industry?
There's probably some secret sauce in there, but like what I'll say is what ultimately matters, right? Threat or not, is that our customer is the one that is having their needs met, right? And as soon as we show up and we say no, you cannot work with other people. You can only work with us, right? Then we are now fundamentally not aligned with our customer, and it's only a matter of time before that relationship erodes, breaks down, and no longer exists. And then so what we have to do is make sure that we stay fundamentally aligned with our customer. And not in every situation are we going to have the technology that meets, their needs. They might be needing something very specialized in an area that we just, don't do anything in, which is totally fine. You don't have to wait on us to make software for that. And I know there's other companies that do that, and it creates an uncomfortable dynamic between the wholesaler, or supplier and that technology vendor, and we just don't have time to deal with that. There's way more important things to do than to fuss over who are you working with, right?
Yeah.
We're all grown ups. We got better stuff to do.
It's interesting because we're all we all have common goals, and how we get there is quite interesting, and how people perceive that and look at that in different ways and really carve that path to success. So I know we're appreciative of it. We embrace, I think, that mentality as well of wanting to work with others to improve the livelihoods of all of our customers from that perspective. From a distributor perspective in that middle tier, what are a couple of blind spots that distributors have in terms of their tech stack? What's missing?
For some, quite a bit, right? There are wholesalers out there today that aren't using EDI, which is a very, very, very old technology way of communicating with retailers, right? So if you start there, there is a pile of stuff that you're missing. And then you can go all the way up to the front end where there's not much that the people are constantly on the front end of technology. But there's this group in the middle that's kind of complacent, right? It's working, status quo, there's no problems, and if I replace the software, I might make, a couple of employees, threatened or upset, and because they don't know how to, push all of the buttons, because they've been using this other software for a really long time. That complacency is a blind spot, because the world is moving very, 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 very fast, right? It's probably faster than it's ever moved. And in not very long, like you'll get to this point where, it's too late. Like you're going to be too far behind to really catch up. And you just, like, from a blind spot, that's one, would be just complacency.
I hear that a lot. It's interesting, and we were talking a little bit earlier over lunch around a transition from one RAS company to another. That's not the only thing you all do, right? Mm-hmm. Like you talked about this world and ecosystem of technology and what it can deliver. Is it really that daunting of a task? Because I hear a lot from customers that it's just like, to your point, complacent because it's like so hard to change. Is it really that hard? It's work, right? But is it really that hard?
It's definitely work, right? And there's two main things you have to do. Like the first one is data, right? You get the data out of the old, put it in the new, right? And it just like this gives you an opportunity to clean it up, to make it right. But this piece is really, really critical, because once you do, the conversion of data, you load Encompass full of information, and your team as a distributor trusts that information, knows that it's right, and that the transfer of that was correct. And this is actually a really, really, really low lift from a wholesaler perspective. You don't have to do a whole lot. Just like look at the number, right? Does it match? And then you're like, yes, this matches. Now you have all the confidence that you need to go through the other phase of it, which is all in your court, right? Like this can be the best implementation you've ever had or the worst implementation you ever had. It all has to do with change management. And as long as you're able to change management internally the right way, and that from top down management down to the last picker, everybody's in alignment on what to do, or that we're going to go through a change, then you're going to be fine. And I'll tell you, like, one of the most common types of questions that you get during an install, during conversion, is not how does it work, but what should I do? Mm-hmm. Because now you're getting all these questions that you would assume that the sales team knows or the delivery team knows what to do, but that it's coming out to the manager, and it gives us a really good opportunity, like, to refresh a lot of stuff. So there's definitely work in it, but is it hard? It depends on your definition of hard, I guess. But it's not daunting. It's not impossible. I mean, there's 50 distributors a year do it. Like, yeah. I would tell you some of them would do it again.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you've gained a new customer. They've made that transition. How do you measure success just beyond like adoption of the team using the equipment? Like, what are the things you hear that are instantly driving value out of the gates? What does success look like from that perspective?
It happens often, right? And what we really look for is like the word of mouth reference. Like, you can hit all the numbers, you can hit all the KPIs, like you get beer out the door, get paid, all that sort of stuff, right? But what really means something is when those new customers start telling other people about, like, how good it is, how or it wasn't that bad, or like, this is so great, I can do all these sorts of things. Like, when you get that word of mouth out there, that's when you're doing the right thing. And so there's no like checklist to get there, right? It either happens or it doesn't, and the only way that it happens is by doing a good job and being authentic and being trustworthy and just being able to get a job done the right way.
Yeah, when you talk change management a little bit, and that's a heavy lift at times, right? So we'll install our Vision hardware on a high-speed wrapper at an Encompass distributor customer, right? And on the back end, we're doing integration work with you guys, pulling in the data to make our system work, sending stuff back to you guys. But there's there can be resistance, right? Especially between four walls in a warehouse, and how it's going to potentially impact the day-to-day, and how the accuracy of an order selector, and how we can get more detailed in what's actually accurate and what's not, and different things like that. What's like Encompass's approach to like the step-by-step change management process?
There's a whole framework around this process, right? And it's been evolved over the years. So I mean, we could be here for a very long time talking about the details. But ultimately, it comes down to like, hey, we're gonna get the data right, and then we're gonna make sure that you can do your job in the system, and then we're gonna go through the process of training and implementing and getting it out there. And along the way, like, we're giving the wholesaler the opportunity to do a lot of the best practices in change management, which include, making sure that everybody's included and he has the opportunity to review it and add some sort of feedback and get some buy-in into the process. And when that happens, man, it goes so much smoother than you would expect.
So we can't not have some technology discussion without talking about AI a little bit. What's your view on it? Where's it Encompass looking to go with it? And how can it be good and or bad at times?
It's happening, right? Like there should be no second guessing on that, right? It's going to be a part of the equation. We have AI built into the software. We have AI that can be extended onto the software. AI is everywhere, and it's tricky to like articulate exactly where it's going to be, because there's going to be AI in like lots of different things. So there's not just like, here's our one AI thing, right? That's just not the way that it's going to be. It's like Excel is everywhere, right? Like, you don't implement Excel at the company and then like there's one user of Excel and everybody uses it exactly the same. Like, everybody has Excel and everybody's using it in a different way. That's kind of where AI is going to be. Everybody's going to have an AI tool doing something that is specific to that role. And what we're doing is we're trading like human time for compute with AI. And this is like, you're gonna put in 5 minutes of AI time. What you're gonna get back is a couple hours of your time that you get to use that doing something else.
How much do you use it? Every day?
A bunch. And I'll tell you this thing. So we talk about future proofing, right? Future proofing your business. And we developed the platform in such a way that we had no idea that it would be capable of being ready for this future. In this one particular example. But do you know what vibe coding is?
No, I overheard you outside a little while ago. Talk about that.
So
for a minute.
vibe coding is the new thing in tech. And so what a vibe coder is just, this is you, me, your nephew, right? It's anybody with an idea, and they pick up an AI tool, and they tell it like, here's my idea for an app. Click. They're just putting in the prompts into AI. AI spits back out to you the code necessary and it tells you what sort of infrastructural tools to use in order to bring that app to life. And the idea is that with a very, very short amount of time and a very limited amount of money, you can create an app and like bring it to market. You can be a one-person founder. You can be a one-person company. The trajectory is that within a year, like, VC money is all going to go to vibe coded type of applications. Now, where that meets Encompass is the way that you customize Encompass is through a series of dashboards that you type code into the app builder, and this creates your customization. It's HTML and it's JavaScript. You can ask AI to create an app using HTML and JavaScript. So if you have an idea that you want for your app, you're a beverage distributor, you're a supplier, you're whatever, right? But you're like, this is the way that it needs to be done. This is going to change the world. This is going to change this particular business. This is going to change my job. Vibe code that and ask the tool to pump out HTML and JavaScript. Within a few hours, boom, you can plug that into Encompass, and now you've got your own custom app, and you've got all the tools necessary to be able to support it and maintain it, move it forward, and then just keep refining it and making it bigger and bigger and better and better and better. And you can do that and not know anything about anything, really. I've tried this. I've done this. It's worked. It's totally possible. And this is something that, like, our competitors are miles away from. To even get to the point of, like, being ready to talk about doing this, I mean, you're 5-7 years away from getting there. And, I mean, I'm saying we've got a 5 to 7 year head start on the competitor. What are we going to do in the next 5 or 7 years? Like, it's going to be insane where we're going to go.
So, kind of a two-pronged question as we kind of round it out and close it out. What is something that you've been most proud of being a part of Encompass? What's a moment in time that has stood out? And then what are you most excited about outside of, like, the supplier distributor sort of connection that we talked about? What else are you excited about where the future is going with Encompass?
Thing that I'm most proud about, I would have to say, would be, I'll tell you a funny story. So this was 2014. The founder of Encompass and myself, we were enjoying some beverages on his back patio, and we were talking about the very nerdy conversation. We were talking about the technical back end of Encompass and where it existed. One of the options in front of us that we were talking about was going to this new thing, going to AWS, Amazon. And we're like, should we do it? Should we not do it? And I was a very big proponent for it. I said, yes, this is absolutely where we need to go. We must do this. We have to do this. And we did. We were early. We were one of the kind of early adopters into this program. Now there's not a tech company in the world that's not in, one of the cloud environments. You're either there or you don't exist, right?
Yep.
And that I feel really proud that, like, that was the right decision to make back then. It was the right decision to make at any point, but I'm proud that we were able to, like, decide to do that, and then we actually did it, right? And it was hard to, like, lift and shift and get in there, and it was difficult, but we stuck with it and we got after it. That's one thing that I'm really, really proud of that we were able to do. The thing that I'm most looking forward to is going to be, like, what happens in the industry. And I was talking earlier about the freight trains, right? The freight train of innovation and the freight train of consolidation. And what we don't know is, are they going to collide or are they just running alongside each other? And I want to know, like, where are they going? And I think that's what I'm most optimistic to see. I like the future of running in parallel. I think that's better for us as a company, better for you and I as consumers, better for, just the industry in general. But the collision course, like, that'll have its own set of fun realities that will figure out how to thrive in.
You and I both started in the industry early in our career, if not, like, our whole career has been in the industry, right? I transitioned from, like, distributor over to tech. You were distributor early on and then straight into tech basically the whole time. Last question, what advice would you give to somebody coming out of college or somebody in their early 20s who's looking to venture into beer and beverage or software systems like route accounting companies? Where would you go with that?
It's just to try it. Just try stuff. And this is not really good advice, right? Like, so I did stuff, like, people told me, like, Bill, do not do that, and I did it anyway, right? And well, holy shit, it worked, right? And they're like, oh, well, all right, So and there was several examples of those which have helped me throughout my career, but, like, the bullet point on that is, like, do stuff that you're not supposed to do. Like, I don't know if that's exactly what I'm supposed to say, but, like, take some risks, try some things, like, learn as much as you possibly can. Along the way, I know, like, I put myself into some really uncomfortable situations where I didn't know, like, enough. I didn't feel like I knew what I should know, but I knew how to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, if you can learn, if you can try, I mean, those are the big things. But probably the actual advice, like the good advice, is to be a nerd, like a nerd out on whatever you're gonna do. And so if you're in sales, like in beer sales, nerd out on, like, the stuff, the
process, the structure, those things,
like,
and just
making the best display,
make it happen,
and doing all the best execution.
Well, Bill, listen, I've had fantastic conversations with you today. Really appreciate you making the trek down from Fort Collins to spend some time with us today. Great conversation. I hope anybody watching Pallets to Pints can pick up a thing or two from this conversation today and embrace it. I want to give a special toast to not only you, and our continued partnership, but Encompass overall as being a really tremendous partner to us and other technology companies throughout the organization or throughout the industry to move the industry in the right direction. So cheers to you.
Thank you.
And
Really
thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.